Hi there, hello, hi there, I'm Clifford Bates, and welcome once again to reading Machiavelli's Discourses. Today, we're continuing Book 1, looking today at chapter 46. What is 46? Well, it's men ascend from one ambition to another. First, one seeks not to be offended, then one offends others. So therefore, the question of ambition, from one ambition, people who tend to run from it. Men, human nature, and about the question of ambitions, and the desire not to offend. One seeks not to be offended, and then offends. Right. So let's go right into the text. Okay. When the Roman people had recovered its freedom and returned to its former ranks. Again, this returns to that, after the December, after the tyranny of the December. And so much the greater, since many new laws had been made in confirmation of its power. It appeared reasonable that Rome would quiet down for some time. Right. This is Livy. Livy 3. Okay. Livy 3 and 4. Nonetheless, by experience, one may see the contrary. For every day, new tumults and new disorders rose up there. So, in other words, you'd have figured after that and all these new laws, there would have been a situation where things would have settled down. But instead, what happened was the opposite happened. That every day, new tumults and discords arose. Because Titus Livy very prudently supplies the reasons. Because Titus Livy very prudently supplies the reasons why they arose. It does not appear to me in opposite to refer precisely to his words, where he says that either the people or the nobility always became proud when the other humbled itself. In other words, again, this is right quoting. This is his summary, repeating what Livy says in Book 3 at line 65. In other words, they became the more the Romans, the more they, in other words, the people became proud. The people or that became proud when the other humbled. The second one humbled themselves, the other one became proud. Okay, in other words, that's the thing. Pride. Arrogant, you can say. Pride and arrogance, right? One humbles himself, the other one becomes arrogant, prideful, right? When the plebs stayed quiet within its bounds, the young nobles began to injure it, the plebeian body, right? And the tributes could find few remedies for it because they too were violated, right? So therefore, in other words, the tributes could find remedies against these young nobles that began injuring it because they too were violated. Though it appeared to the nobility on the other side that its youth had been too ferocious, it preferred that if the bounds, literally here the bounds mode, right? The mode. I think mode is the mode. I don't understand why Mansfield don't keep mode. Because this was something, the mode on orders, right? If the mode had to be overstepped, its own should overstep and not the plebs. In other words, if it's going to be someone who oversteps, it should be they that overstep and not the plebs who punish them. In other words, if it appeared to nobility on the other side that if its youth had been furious, it preferred that if the mode had to be overstepped, it should be overstepped by their, not the plebs. So the desire to defend freedom made each one try to prevail so much that he oppressed the other. In other words, they want to be free from the other, so they oppress the other, right? They keep on oppressing the other, Livy says. The order of these accidents is that when men seek not to fear, they begin to make others fear. And the injury that they dispel from themselves, they put upon another, as if it was necessary to offend or not to be offended. In other words, here's the problem. In other words, Machiavelli puts this line. This sentence is very this sentence is a very important one in that sense. That these accidents is that when men seek not to fear, I'm afraid of this. So they do. They put the other in fear. And the injuries that they dispel from themselves, they put on the other. As if it were necessary to offend so that they are not offended. Okay? So they are not offended. Okay. One sees by this in what mode, among others, republics break down, and in what mode men ascend from one ambition to another, and how that Sallustine sentence put in the mouth of Caesar is very true, that all bad examples have arisen from good beginnings, right? Again, this is Latin. In Latin, Sallust says that all bad examples have risen from good things. In other words, this is that line. In other words, when sees what mode. In other words, that one side harms the other they feel oppressed by this, so I'm going to harm you. I'm going to harm you, so that this. But then they, now fearing them, want to harm them. So therefore, this keeps on getting worse and worse. And he says that these accidents men seek not to fear. Right? They begin to get others to fear, and therefore one sees in this mode how republics break down in that sense. What mode men ascend from one ambition to another, and therefore from bad examples have arisen good beginnings. Right? Or this is again, the Sallus's line is all bad examples have arisen from good things. Those citizens who live ambitiously in a republic, as we said above, seek as the first thing to be. In other words, all citizens who live ambitiously in a republic, as was said above, seek as the first thing to be able not to be offended, not only by private individuals, but also by the magistrates. In other words, they don't. I'm an ambitious citizen. I don't want to be I don't want to be offended not only by private people, but the magistrates. They seek friendship. They seek friendships so as to be able to do this. In other words, they make allies and they make friends, so not only that they can avoid being, what I said, harmed, offended by the magistrates. Right? They have to do this, and they acquire them in ways honest in appearance, either by helping with money or by defending them from the more powerful. In other words, you seek the friendship. Machiavelli says here, ambitious people will do what? They will make friends. How they make friends? How they acquire friends? They acquire them in ways honest in appearance, by helping them with money, giving them money, or by defending them from the powerful. Because this appears virtuous, it easily deceives everyone. And because of this, they offer no remedies against it. So as he, persevering without hindrance, becomes of such a quality that private citizens have to fear him, and the magistrates have to respect him. Okay? In other words, this is a very interesting thing, because it appears virtuous. It deceives them. Because what he's doing? He's making friends. He's helping his friends. He either helps them with money or he defends them against the people who are powerful. And therefore, and there's no, because it deceives everyone. There's no easy remedy against it. Because what does he do? Preserving without hindrance. In other words, he preserves, and what happens? The private citizens have time to fear him. Because if he now turns on them, and that the magistrates respect him, I understand you even stopped me from doing it, right? When he has, in other words, when he has ascended to this rank, and he has not already been prevented from greatness, he becomes to be in a position where to try to strike him is most dangerous, for reasons that I've given above. Again, this is Discourses 33. In other words, it's better to temporize the evil than to strike it if you can't. In other words, because it actually gives more power. To now try to remedy now or take action against him would actually ultimately benefit from him. It's actually more to ignore him or let the problem go away on its own. Let time solve the problem. And he says, for the reasons I've given above, of the danger that there is in striking at an inconvenience that has let me do this so I can get this. Maybe this will help a little bit. In other words, striking an inconvenience that has already gained such an increase in the city. In other words, it doesn't make any sense. In other words, you strike the inconvenience. If you strike it, it makes it worse. So, in other words, by time you're able to act against him, he has greatness. In other words, he's already gotten to the position of he's helped so many people. He's ambitious. Everyone fears the people. Private actors fear him, and the magistrates kind of respect him, and that he gets into a position of he comes to be in a position where to try to strike him is most dangerous. Because if you strike him, he's going to get more power from it. He's going to win because he's going to be strong. He's going to prevail. So therefore, it's better to moderate. Remember back in 33, in a sense. So the affair comes down to a point at which one needs either to seek to eliminate him with danger of a sudden ruin, or by allowing him to act to enter into a manifest servitude, unless death or some accident frees you from it. So therefore, you're in a weird situation. You're in a bad situation. So, maybe it'd be better not to push him, not to do this. In other words, don't provoke the situation. Maybe better to appease him in that sense. But at the same time, not. In other words, do it. This is the problem. You have to figure out a way to. How do you handle it? You don't want him to be. Now, if he's ambitious, you have to be careful, because what does he really? You have to. The problem is, how do you know the souls and consciences of men? This is but Trump. This is why we can't stand Trump, because he wants to be the tyrant. But if you look at Trump, is he really truly politically ambitious? Is he a tyrannical character? In many ways, I don't think. If you look at his character, I don't think you can get the argument that he has the desire to command or compel. It's almost kind of like he has a resentment of what has happened. But that's neither here nor there. But Machiavelli is talking about the people who are really, truly ambitious, who wish to command, wish to achieve greatness. But this is the problem. But greatness usually at the expense of the people, right? And the only thing is that either you try to eliminate him with a sudden ruin. In other words, you risk the ruin of the republic by allowing him to act. Or by allowing him to act, to enter into a manifest service, unless death or accident frees you from it. For having come to the position written above, where the citizens and the magistrates have fear of offending him, and his friends, he does not have much trouble getting them to judge and to offend in his mode. In other words, people he has helped. In other words, they're going to offend those who, the very people that were threats that offended them, but also threatened him, right? So this is the danger here. So having come into the position written above, that he is so important, that by helping the people he's helped, and that the private people, the private persons fear him, particularly powerful private people fear him, and that the magistrates respect him, right? In a situation that they respect him because they can't really act against him. They feel frustrated against him. Where the citizens and magistrates have fear offending him and his friends. He does not have much trouble getting them to judge and offend in his mode. In other words, they're on his side. They see what he sees. Hence, a republic must have among its orders this one, of watching out that its citizens cannot do evil under the shadow of good, and that they have that reputation that helps and does not hurt freedom, as it will be disputed by us in its place. Right? Again, this is 6. 6 is Discourses, and books Discourses 3, chapter 28. We'll discuss this later. Does not hurt freedom. In other words, have a reputation that helps and does not hurt freedom. So make sure the citizens cannot do evil under the shadow of good. So in other words, you have to be careful. Look at this. When people are doing good things, make sure there's not... This is the problem of NGOs, right? Or philanthropy sometimes. People do philanthropy, but what the goal of the philanthropy is not the benefit of this community, but it's harm. It's like when NGOs all of a sudden sponsor illegal immigrants or bring in mass migration. This is although the idea that an NGO does these good things is a good idea. Civil societies, that private individuals should do beneficence and things, but what is the benefice? What is the thing being done, and is the thing being done beneficial or harmful? In other words, we should be careful that citizens cannot do evil under the shadow or the perception of good. And this is often what happens a lot of times. People usually claim they're doing good, but what actually happens is evil. And this is the danger. This is the danger of what happens. And then ambitious people use that to get power. And this is the danger. And he's going to talk about this even further about this, how to deal with this in book 3. So we'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, please put them below. And I will respond to them when I see them. If you've got please put your questions and issues, anything you didn't understand or you need some clarification on, please don't go say so in the comments. Second is like the video, hit the like button, please. Maybe I should just tell people to do this at the beginning of the thing. I do it at the end. Hit the like button. It helps the algorithms. Commenting and hidden like button. If you've already liked things, share it on your social media. Share it on your friends with your friends. Share it to other people. Recommend it to interesting people. If you've not subscribed, again, subscribe. Again, you only get notifications, but it helps, again, all these things. Commenting, liking, sharing, and subscribing all helps the algorithm in such a way that people helping, if people go looking for something on a theme or something, it brings the videos up and the attention for others. So please do this. Another thing is, if you didn't like it, say why in the comments. You can, of course, you can thumb down it, but you can explain why, what's wrong, so that people can benefit from it and learn. This is the purpose of these videos, in a sense. Another thing you can do is, you want to follow me on social media. You can follow my social media links below. If you want to know more about me as a researcher, scholar, and academic, you can check out my academic research in the academic social media links below the social media links. Or if you want to help me to do what I do here, because it does cost a little money to maintain the computers and things like this. I think I got a 1 or 2 year lease on life on this computer. But who knows? It's starting to bug out. It's like, oh no. it'd be nice, right? So please think about subscribing through Subscribestar, Patreon, or you can, other way you can help is by buying one of my books listed below. You can order through your local bookstore, of course. Always support your local businesses. But also, maybe if the bookstore does not order, is unwilling to order, you can order through an online distributor like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Book Depository, or the other middlemen. Or you can order directly from the publisher. Well, we'll see each other soon. We're looking at chapter, I think, 47 next. So take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.